Hello everyone and welcome back here. What if you want to create a natural lighting? A lighting comes from outside. All right, let's see how can we do that. Well, it's very easy actually. All what you want to do is just go to the world and go to the color and just scroll the wheel until you see all of these options and pick sky texture. Now we got the sky texture right here. Now, if you go inside the room, and don't forget that these curtains are transparent, the curtains in the middle. Now, if I hit Z and go to the render, let's see what's going to happen. Immediately now, we can see some lighting comes from outside, and you have the ability to control this this node. It's called Sky Texture. Here we have all of these options for this node. For example, if you want to rotate the sun, you can rotate it and put it in front of these windows. For example, let's type 90 and let's see what's going to happen. As you can see now, the sun comes directly on the windows, and now we can see some lighting illuminating the scene. But before we accept this result, let's do something. Let's go to the solid first and let's block some places. For example, the door right here, the light could comes from these cavities, let's say crevices. I don't know what to call it, but it could go through the door, and we can see some lights comes from this open area. But to avoid that, we can add, for example, we can add a cube, all right, and scale this to the Z, for example, and make it thin like that. And I will grab, for example, this face after you go to the edit mode, and I will hit Control plus to grow the selection. All right, so all what I selected is just these 5 faces, and I will invert them. Hit Control I to invert. The idea is very simple. All what I need to do is just selecting this face and then hit XF to delete it and keep all the faces exist. And now I will move this out and push it just a tiny bit. All right, now this box will block any lighting comes from outside, and the light that comes from outside will not reach the door. After that, here in this area, you can add, for example, a plane, and you can scale it like that and block the roof as well. By the way, there is a different scenario if you prefer. You can grab the structure itself and you can select all of these faces like that. Hit Shift D and then hit right click to leave this copy in the same place, and then hit P and then S to separate this out. Tab out to grab this new frame. Go to the X selection mode, grab all of these edges. As you can see, hit F to fill this area. Hit A to grab all of these. Hit E to extrude these up. And now we have a cup to cup this area. So no lighting will comes from here. Shift D to the Z, and if you like, you can take a copy here and cover this area as well. But keep in mind to delete the faces in the middle. We don't need them on the ground. Go to the wireframe, grab the surface like that, hit XF and get rid of it. And now let's focus on the ground. Control L to select linked faces, key to the Z, and let's move this up, for example, like that. And that will be it. From inside, if we have any overlapping, we will try a different scenario. But we don't see any overlapping because this covers reach the outside surface of the wall. All right. All right, now let's go to the render mode, hit Z and go to render, and let's see the result. All right, as you can see, the room is totally illuminated and the result looks so beautiful. But if we select this curtain right here and if we hit H to hide it, you can see that the lights could go through the window and hit the ground. And that's something cool when sunlight reach the ground or goes inside the room. But how can we change or manipulate the material of the curtain to make it to leave the sun ray goes through it? I will hit Ctrl Z to bring back the middle curtain and select it, and let's go to the material preview. So this is the material. As you can see here, we have translucent BSDF with a Fresnel linked inside mix shader, all right, with some normal. But imagine if we add another shader here, like transparent. Hit Shift A and let's search for transparent. And let's put it right here. And I will hit Control Shift, right click, and move the mouse from this node to that node. And node wrangler will create a mix shader right here in this area. And we will link it here. But if you didn't have the node wrangler active, you can go to the edit and then preferences. In the add-on section, search for WR to find the node wrangler and activate it. And now you can try Control Shift right click from this to this. And now we got the mix shader mixing between the transparent and the mix shader, the final result of this material. And here we have the factor. If we move the factor to the left like this, the curtain will be disappeared. And if you push this to 1 like that, I will get a result similar to the old results. But if you keep it at the center, for example 0.5, now we have the sun rays could go through the window and the curtain, and now we can see it, and that's something cool. And here we have them as well. And now you have the ability to manipulate the sun position and do all of that in case you don't like this result. You can go back to the sky texture, and here we have all the parameters of the sky texture. For example, the sun elevation here, you can change this to, for example, let's try maybe 45. You can see now when you change the angle here, how the result will be different. Now the sun is, let's say, almost above the earth or the ground, and it will be too strong. If you want to manipulate the sun size, you can do that. For example, step 1, and let's see. That will help to make the shadow a little bit smooth, but the difference will not be quite visible. And sun rotation here, if you want to change this to, for example, 80, you can see what's going on here. Maybe 60, in case you want the sunlight goes like that. You have the ability to do this. And in case you want to manipulate the strength, you can type 0.2 maybe. In case you want it to be weak like this or strong, it's up to you. Let's try 0.5. All right, 0.5 looks nice. I like 0.5. So this is the idea. This is how to manipulate the sky texture and get different results. So far, what we got right here looks so beautiful and nice. And I think I will stick with this result. And now we can create another render. But before we actually doing this, I don't know. I'm not so quite happy with the sofa. I just want to select it and just make small changes here. Let's change the saturation a little bit. Let's change this number to 0.2 maybe and make it less saturated. I think that will be better. All right, now let's go to the solid, his Z, and go to solid. And now we can take another shot. All right, for example,